how to look good in a video interview. If you go to the video interview masterclass, each of these points are going to be covered in detail. So if you feel like you haven't quite got the gist of anything that we're talking about, go over there and we'll be covering everything here and more. There's a couple of things to think about with video interview success. Firstly, it's about knowing ourselves and how we are on camera, setting the scene, checking your equipment, your internet connection, and also creating a peaceful environment where you can really thrive and get the best out of the interview. By knowing yourself, there's a couple of things that I mean. First of all, you would be surprised how many people I speak to and say, so what are you like on video? And they kind of give me this blank expression. They're like, I don't know, like I've never seen myself on video, or I don't like the way that I look. Well, dude, you're going to be on video. You're doing a video interview. So record yourself multiple times, answer questions, see how long you speak, watch back the video, assess, check the sound, your volume, your tonality, your body language, your eye contact to the camera. Do you look happy and excited? The point is, when you're doing an interview, imagine if I'm doing these interviews and I'm kind of like, yeah, so check the video and, make sure that you're really trying to give a good impression. Dude, you're not going to watch my video. You're going to turn around to your friends and be like, do not watch this guy's video. He's awful. Because this is what we actually call congruence. So it's about saying not just like, I'm happy, like I'm happy, that kind of thing. And the only way that you're going to find that out is if you record yourself and watch yourself back, which I've done hundreds of times. I'm always trying to, I might not watch all of my video, but I'll watch part and I'll be like, why are you saying this? Or why do you look like this? Or why are you kind of looking off into the distance? Or, there's always stuff that can be tweaked and can be changed. The next thing, so here's a sort of quick checklist that you can go through. Make sure you've got good eye contact with the camera and your face can be clearly seen. Be in some form of business dress, so you'd want to be a little bit smarter than me, have a suit, have your top button up and have a tie on. You want to check the video and audio quality, so that's something definitely to do beforehand, which you can easily do. For example, this camera that I have on my laptop is actually fine for like a small video, like for a picture-in-picture, but it's not great for a big picture because the quality isn't great, but it's good enough when it's small. And also checking the audio, so I'm actually talking to you on a professional mic, but you might say, for example, use your computer audio and it sounds really crackly, or you can hear the fan. And also that you're speaking slowly and clearly, so when listening back to yourself. And the great thing that you can do with videos is just send it to somebody. Record a little video and send it off to someone and say, like, how does it look? Is it okay? Make sure you're not taking longer than 3 minutes to answer your question, because you're probably not going to get longer than that. And also not reading from a script, because if you're reading from a script and your eyes are kind of going like this and you sort of sound like a typewriter going back and forth, people are going to know. That doesn't mean that you can't have like some sneaky notes, or I have notes. Sometimes I have a note on a different screen. That's why you might see me look away. Look, I'm not perfect, so if I have to do that, then probably you'll do it too. But just don't make it like you're just reading stuff out loud. So now I want you to think about setting the scene. So first of all, I'm going to show you a couple of really funny pictures, just thinking about the best background. So here, the background that I've got probably isn't the best background for a video interview, but I'd say it's pretty okay. The whiteboard's pretty clean. There's nothing on the walls. What I'm trying to say is literally you just focusing on me. Just focusing on me. The lighting could be a little bit better. The decor looks okay, and also having blank walls. So for example, if you see some of these videos, and these are from professional people, this is not something that you're kind of going like, oh yeah, it's just someone's interview. So this guy is on BBC World News. As you can tell, he hasn't picked the best background with what looks like a messy guest bedroom. Well, hopefully it's not his. Compared to this gentleman appearing in the interview, and everything kind of screams, power, confidence, leadership. It's really tastefully and well thought out. And even then, we've got this young man on this just striking white background, so all you can see is him. but you can see how much of a difference a background can make. The next thing to think about is checking your equipment. This is something, if you ever talk to somebody who works in something technical or audio visual, they're always going to tell you to check and double check your equipment. So make sure you're about 30 centimeters away from the camera. If I'm a little bit too close, then it kind of looks a bit weird, it's kind of uncomfortable, and maybe you can look up my nose. Is the picture clear? If you're using a phone, make sure it's on a tripod. You know, we've got a couple of tripods around here which are adjustable, or steady cams. You know, if your sound quality is really bad, which to be honest it probably shouldn't be, if you've got a modern phone, then the microphone and the camera is going to be excellent. But just if you have a bad phone, then just buy a cheap microphone or just buy a good headset. And how is the lighting on your face? So this is a good example of, you know, an unclear picture, not to mention not a particularly nice background. Securing your iPhone with a cheap tripod, it's really handy. Sometimes people will just kind of try and place their phone somewhere and it will slide down, and it just kind of drives them mad. If you're not doing it, I would always say if you can, do it on a laptop, because it's probably going to be the best piece of kit that you have. At the very least, just make sure you can buy a cheap tripod for less than £10. Also a cheap microphone. This is one that I used to have, Sony ECM CS3. It's like £7, I think. And also thinking about the lighting. So the lighting that I've got here currently at the moment probably could be a little bit better, because I've got some big doors here and the lighting comes through, and this side of my face is a little bit darker. So when I actually do the videos, when I'm talking about stuff on the whiteboard, you can see everything. I've actually got another light here and I've got another light above. And this just shows you the difference between different angles of lighting and what you're going to look like. As you can see, the gentleman in the bottom right hand corner looks much clearer. It's much easier to see him, and he's more defined against the background. And that's just a little bit of lighting 101 for a 3-point lighting setup. Of course, it doesn't have to be professional. One thing I'd say is it's just important, make sure I can see your face. So you could have a desk lamp behind your computer. You could have you could be sitting underneath a light, so it's casting light down above you. Just don't have it, and I've seen this quite a few times where people are sitting in a room, the curtains are drawn, and I can't really see your face. And that should be eliminated when you're doing your test video. So you can just see here a little bit of difference with the lighting and kind of what that makes when you just have a big downward light coming down on somebody's face. Next thing, particularly if you're in dorms, check your internet connection. So you can use something called speedtest.net. If you're living and you're sharing internet with lots of other people, this can have an effect, particularly if you're doing a video interview, because video takes up a lot of bandwidth. So what I'd say is, with video interviews, you tend to get 5 days and to respond at any time. I'd be pretty tactical about it, so I try and figure out when's the best time to use the internet. Generally with students, it tends to be, I'd say morning, like sort of 7 to 11 AM, or early afternoon. Definitely don't do it in the evening, because you know that everyone's going to come back, everyone's going to have their Netflix on, and then you're going to be driving your hair out because the internet connection keeps failing and you're wondering why you weren't able to record your video. The other thing as well is evening and weekends tend to have the slowest speed across the board, because will generally be sharing your bandwidth not just with other people, but other people in general in your area. So I'd always record during the day, and if you can, measure the speed. If your internet speed is less than 10 megabytes per second, it's probably going to compromise your video, particularly if you've got a high quality camera that's recording in HD. Something you can do is try and switch down the quality to standard definition, in which case 5 megabytes per second is fine. One of the last things I want you to think about is just making sure that you have a peaceful environment where you can record. That means somewhere that's quiet, there's not a lot of outside noise. For example, I've had people recording videos and then all of a sudden an ambulance has stopped at traffic lights outside their dorm, and they're kind of going like, oh, like because they haven't shut the window, or their housemate has randomly decided to pop in and say hello. The thing is, when you're recording a video, some companies don't let you re-record the video. So what you want to do is just make sure it's calm, it's peaceful, probably, you know, during the daytime. And if there's people around, just say to them like, listen guys, I'm doing this interview, please don't interrupt me, wish me the best of luck. Just something really simple like that. You know, a simple checklist is make sure your phone is silent. I cannot describe the amount of times when someone's sort of had a video session with me interrupted because their phone's going off or their phone's linked to their laptop. It's just like, dude, just switch your phone off or put it in airplane mode, have the windows closed, and, you know, just try and figuring out to have minimum background noise, like if you have something like a fan in the background or something like that. And that's pretty much it. If you go through, so that's a really quick list of things to go through. And if you go over to the video interview masterclass, we'll cover that in more detail. We'll also have some checklists and documents that you can go through.